What is up, everybody? This is Eric from Smelly Russian Gaming, coming to you guys with a really short video. Something super exciting came out yesterday. If any of you guys are following the news on Sony at CES this week with some of the new technology stuff that they're announcing for the year and stuff, I just wanted to follow up on it. I've got IGN pulled up right now. IGN's one of the small news companies as far as gaming that I actually trust and follow. This article was by Colin Moriarty, who is one of the a PlayStation geek along with me, and I love the guys at IGN. They're very good at what they do. Anyways, they had just announced what they are doing with their Gaikai technology that they had bought back in 2012. They're calling it PlayStation Now, and it is essentially live streaming for older games to your PS4. But the exciting thing is that's not only for PlayStation 4, but they're doing it for Vita, they're doing it for TVs, tablets, and cell phones, or smartphones, smartphones. And it's super exciting. It's going to be old school games. Let me just read you a little bit. Let's see. The idea behind PlayStation Now is simple. You will ultimately no longer need to keep your PlayStation 3 around to experience games from that console. PlayStation Now will allow streaming of classics from that system to not only PS4 and PlayStation Vita, but televisions, tablets, and smartphones. 2014 model Sony Bravia televisions will support PlayStation Now, and PlayStation Now will ultimately scale to non-Sony devices as well. Basically means that if you don't have any Sony products as far as TVs or tablets or smartphones or anything, that's perfectly fine. It'll eventually stream there as well. For launch, the games available will no longer be limited, but Sony's Andrew House did confirm that Naughty Dog's The Last of Us and Quantic Dream's Beyond Two Souls will be among the titles available to play without a PlayStation 3 at CES in order to test out the service. Sony has since confirmed that God of War Ascension and Puppeteer will also be playable on PS Vita and Bravia televisions on the CES show floor. Sony has confirmed that PlayStation Now will be a subscription-based service through whether it will tie to existing subscriptions like PlayStation Plus remains to be seen, and will support online multiplayer and trophies. Players can also opt not to subscribe and rent games on a buy game basis. Basically means it's going to be set up as a subscription. You can either rent out the games individually, or you can just pay some type of subscription and have access to all the games. It's really cool what they're doing. I'm super excited about it, and it's very interesting. And I had said this a while back to a couple of my buddies. I don't remember if I had said it in any of the videos. This is kind of where we make the leap from possessing games like the plastic case with the stuff on the outside and the physical discs to digital stuff. Now, given that this is just a renting, quote unquote, a renting service, basically, but there's no need for the physical stuff anymore. Like if you just pay your fee and you pay it through PlayStation Plus or whatever they're going to do with this as far as the subscription, you just pay that. You have all your games right there. You stream them to your PlayStation 4 or whatever you want, and you just play. And I think it's very unique and precise the way that Sony did this, because Microsoft tried to do this with the Xbox One, and they tried to shove it down our throats with the DRM policies and having to check in once every hour for an internet connection, and if you didn't, you couldn't. They were trying to shove the whole digital age down our throats, and it didn't work. But I think this way, this kind of slowly, gradually gets us into it. And with that happening, and I don't know if any of you had heard, but as soon as this right now, as soon as PlayStation Now was announced at CES, GameStop's stocks dropped 8.4%, I believe is the exact percentage that they dropped. And the reason why it dropped is because there's no need to go out and get the physical disc. What does this hint towards? It kind of hints towards something that I talked a ways back about. Is there we've talked about how there's a big issue between companies not making enough money because of the used game market and them having to raise the price of games to be able to make enough money to pay their employees, make new games, make a living basically. And on the other side of that coin is consumers wanting games cheaper and being able to afford them and have good games and things like that. This kind of shortens that gap, and I'm going to tell you why. If this digital age keeps moving forward gradually the way it is, and along with Microsoft, slowly adding it in, because it's a conjoined effort with Sony and Xbox One. Well, it's a combined effort with Microsoft, PC gamers, and Sony. There's no real separation. It's the gaming industry as a whole going against basically GameStop and used games. And the more digital we move, whether it's slower or quicker, either way, the price of games has to go down, and devs will see it, and I'll explain on this further. When it'll cost less for developers to produce games digitally, because for one, you don't have to spend all the extra money on discs or the plastic or for the printing, for the physical discs and stuff, so it costs less to make them. And if it costs less to make them, they can sell them at a cheaper price and still make their money. And if they sell them less digitally and they sell more digitally because they're cheaper, GameStop thusly goes under. I don't know how quickly they would go under, but eventually they would have to cave in on themselves because the used game market would go under. Thusly, they don't have to worry about the game developers, and the gaming industry doesn't have to worry about used games anymore and having to drive up the prices to make money because people are selling used games. And as consumers, we save a pretty penny by, for one, getting the games that we want very, very easily. It's at our fingertips. You just press a button and it's right there. And I don't know. As far as the PS4, it takes me, maybe 2-3 minutes to get the first part of a game downloaded so I can start playing it, and then the rest just downloads in the background. So, it's literally almost right there in front of you immediately. And I knew something like this was going to happen once they got the Gaikai technology and they said what they were going to do as far as a gaming library and being able to stream and playing older games and things like that. This is just a small step, okay? Playing older games from older consoles and older generations is just a step. I think this is a very cool thing, but it may be a small step, but it's a very, very huge step all at the same time. It's a small step as far as not pushing, being able to download games and downloading, everything you want right in front of you. They're not shoving it down our throats like the Xbox One did. But it's very big in the aspect of, okay, we're moving this direction and we're going to start here, but eventually it's going to snowball and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually it's just going to pay off in the end for everybody. And if it keeps moving like this and it works out the way it's supposed to, them making games cheaper while still making their money, we're getting games cheaper. The only way anybody loses is if, GameStop goes out of business, and those are the only people that really lose in this situation. Everybody else wins: the consumers, the developers, and PC gamers. Almost everybody wins in this whole situation. And it's super, super exciting for me anyways, because I still remember when games were, I'm sure a lot of you still do remember, at least guys that are like, I'd say like 20 or older, 21 or older, somewhere in that age. We still remember when we were playing, $40 and $50 games on, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, until there was that huge jump in price once the last generation came out with PS3 and Xbox 360. But this is something that's very cool and very exciting. I wanted to make a quick video for you guys because it's a very small step in a very big direction that works out for everybody, and it helps. It's almost foolproof. And a lot of people there's a lot of naysayers out there that are going to say, well, there's still going to be developers that are going to still want games for $60 online. Then they're going to miss out because everybody else is going to capitalize on it. They're going to cut the price of their games, and don't quote me on it, maybe in half. Maybe it cuts the price of games in half almost, which would be amazing. Imagine going out and being able to get, at the touch of a button, get, Call of Duty or Battlefield or Final Fantasy or, Uncharted or any of these other, Halo, Madden, NBA 2K, FIFA, any of these great games that everybody loves year in, year out. Imagine being able to get these games at half the price of what they used to be, half of what they are now. That's instead of, saving up, for 2 games, $120 plus tax, $60 now will get you 2 games online, possibly. If somehow it cuts the price of games in half. So I think it's super awesome. It's very exciting. We have a lot to look forward to. PlayStation Now, they predicted would be here sometime this summer. They didn't give us an official date, but sometime in this summer. So I'm guessing, if I was going to guess, I'd say late summer. So I'd say like August or September. That's what I'd say. I whenever they give you like, a vague guess, I always guess on the back half of it just to give them time, But I mean, this is huge, and I hope everybody can understand that this is very, very big for the gaming community. This is big for everybody, because if we can start saving money just by the fact that companies are going to be putting their games online instead of in cases and on discs, more power to you. I'm all for it. Do I still like the idea of, looking, on my entertainment center and seeing, the rows of games that I have? Yeah, I'll miss it a little bit. But if it means I save $20, $25 on a game, I'll skip having the case and the disc. I'll skip on it. It's worth saving it to me, games have gone up in price, and you're paying, like for Battlefield, you're paying $60 for the game and then another $50 for premium. If you're paying for limited edition games, you're paying $120, sometimes $130 for games. And it's there's some give and take to go with it, but I think in the end it's really, really going to pay off, and I think it's going to turn out quite awesome. I think everybody's going to be super, super happy. But look down below, comment, like, whatever you want to do. It was nice talking to you guys. I will be back with a couple more updates, a few more reviews I've got to review Killzone Shadowfall. A lot of fun with that game. Online is a lot of fun. I haven't played the storyline yet because I haven't had enough time, but I will definitely be getting on that soon. Otherwise, see you guys later.